I was able to sign 3 clients for my info product agency from August 25th to September 17th. And in today's video, I want to break down exactly how I went from feeling like outreach was something that was completely impossible to now having like a system and a process in place that is able to land me clients repeatedly. So whenever I first started my agency, my very first client was dropped into my lap, right? So I was basically given the fish without ever having to learn how to go fishing, right? And in the end, that actually was not a good thing at all. Yes, I had a case study, but I had no idea how to really go out and get other clients, right? So I was always trying to figure out other ways to get clients instead of literally just doing the hard work and doing cold outreach, okay? So I figured out that the only way for me to solve the problem was through solving cold outreach, not around it, right? So today, I want to review a conversation that I had with a prospect that I ended up signing, and then I want to give you guys like 3 takeaways and lessons that I've learned from doing cold outreach that hopefully can help you guys land clients. So the very first thing we're going to do is just review this conversation. So I'm going to pop it up on the screen as I read it on my phone. So you can see my very first message with this guy was July 29th. I slid up on his story. I said, "Hey man, I've been seeing you on my timeline like crazy recently. I love the value that you're providing." Didn't get a response, okay? 2 days later, I said, "Hey bro, I couldn't even sleep last night. I kept thinking about your content based on what we did with 2 of our other clients. I had some ideas on how you can make a stupid amount of money with your brand. I just had to reach out because it would have physically pained me to see you work with someone else who didn't know what they were doing. Is it cool if I send you over a quick video breaking down exactly how you can do the same," right? So he didn't respond to that message either. And also, I want to like review the messages as well. Like that message that I sent, like that long ass like paragraph, I would never send anything like that. I would keep it way more like casual because that sounds super salesy and it sounds like way too much. So I would probably instead now, if I were to do it, I would say something along the lines of like, "Hey, I had some ideas how you can make 6 figures a month based on what we did with 2 of our other clients. Is it cool if I send you over a video?" Right? Something way more simple and sweet. But yeah, so he didn't respond to any of that. Scroll down again. 5 days later, I ended up just sending him the video anyway. Okay, I was like, fuck it, whatever. I said, "Hey, I've been losing sleep thinking about your brand. I had to make you a 2-minute video showing you how you can make $50,000 to $100,000 a month by copying what we've already done with 2 of our clients, both doing 100K per month. Let me know what you think." So I went ahead and sent him the video, even though he didn't ask for it. Okay, I just kept following up. He didn't respond again. 2 days later, I said, "Hey, would it be okay if I made you the entire funnel for free just so you can have it?" Still no response. Okay, even though I offered it to him for free. 5 days later, I said, "Hey, was wondering if you saw this," just bumping him, right? Still no response. 9 days later, I said, I saw some stuff on his like Instagram story where he was like thinking about launching some one-on-one stuff. I said, "Hey, just saw you you launched some one-on-one stuff. Our client had a $7,000 day yesterday with this coaching product using our system. I made you the entire same funnel for free, just so you can have it. Is it cool if I send it over?" Right? So I basically sent him a screenshot of our client doing like 7K in a day, and then that message, and he still didn't respond. Okay, so then 2 weeks later, I just sent him. I was like, and then he still didn't respond. 2 days after that, I was literally like brushing my teeth and I was going through my Instagram stories and I saw him like promoting like a low ticket Discord or a free Discord or something. I said, "Dude, this would be a great lead magnet to upsell to high ticket, by the way. I could do it all for you for free." He finally responds to me 2 months after my first initial message with him. Okay, he said, "Okay, Brandon, let's give it a go." So I said, "Are you free for a call today or tomorrow? Send me your email address and I'll send you a calendar invite." He said, "Yeah, I'm free today." I said, "Send me over a time and I'll send over a calendar invite." He sends me over his email. He says, "I have an hour of free time now." I said, "Sounds good." I sent him a Zoom link and I was able to close him on that call. Okay, so that was the entire conversation that I had with this prospect, just so you guys can see what it looks like to actually have a conversation that closes. And one thing that I want to point out to you guys is that I wasn't only messaging him on Instagram. Okay, I was messaging him on email, which I found on his website randomly, like an old website that he had. Okay, I was messaging him on email. I joined his low ticket Discord for like $100 a month and I messaged him on Discord. Okay, and guess what? After I was messaging him on Discord, he fucking blocked me on Discord. Okay, but guess what? I still kept following up. No just means no right now. It doesn't mean no forever. Okay, it means yes later down the line. This leads me to my first thing that I want to tell you guys. My first piece of advice, number 1, is to follow up forever. Okay, if you know that you have a lead, a prospect that you genuinely can help and provide value to, right? You need to follow up with them forever, right? So it's not, I'm going to do outreach today and I'm going to land a client today. It's my first day of doing outreach. I'm going to land a client my very first day of doing outreach. No, hell no. Okay. You need to adjust your expectations and see it how I see it now is, okay, I'm going to do outreach and I'm going to try to fill up my pipeline. That way, later down the line, in maybe a month, maybe 2 months, I'll be able to land a client or two from all the clients that I'm outreaching, right? So whenever I first started doing outreach, like on my own, cold outreach, I would sit at a desk for like 8 hours trying with like so much effort and like so much like stress trying to land a client, because I thought that, okay, if I just send out all these outreach messages, I'll get a reply and I will land a client that same day, right? That is like literally the opposite of the truth. You know what I mean? You need to literally follow up with these people for months. You know what I mean? You need to follow up with them for months usually before you even get a response. But whenever you do get a response, usually you're going to close them. Okay. So that leads me to my second thing is that if you have a really good offer, like an insanely good offer, eventually you will get a response. You know what I mean? So I didn't necessarily like do it there, but you know, if you have somebody that you once again know that you can genuinely help, right? And you know that you can get results for, you should make your offer like irresistible. So, you know, in that conversation, you can see like I offered to do it for him for free, right? Another thing that I would have done if he still didn't respond to me is I would have been like, bro, I will do it all for you for free. I'll take 0% profit, and if it doesn't work, I'll pay you $5,000, right? So imagine you follow up with somebody for 6 months or 3 months, right? And you keep telling them over and over again, hey, I can make you 5 figures a month without you having to really do anything, like without you having to put in that much work, and I'll do it all for free, and I'll take 0% profit, and if it doesn't work, I'll pay you 5K, right? So if you honestly offer that to enough people, you will get responses. So follow up forever with these people, right? Don't just talk to them for 1 day, 2 days, and then give up, right? You need to follow up with them literally forever until they respond to you, until they either say yes or no. And then if they say no, it just means no right now, unless it's like a hard no. But if, you know what I mean, if it's a hard no, then I would probably stop. But you know, if they ignore you or something like that, it just means not right now. You can get them in the future. Okay, so adjust your expectations. Don't expect people to close on the very first day of you doing outreach to them. Have an insanely good offer, something that's irresistible, right? Like make it to where they would almost be stupid to say no to you over and over again. Okay. And my third thing that I want to talk about to you guys is to take risk whenever you guys are doing outreach, right? So for example, with this client, I joined his low ticket community for $100, right? So instead of me just like only messaging him on Instagram and only emailing him, right, which everyone is already doing, right? I went ahead and I paid money to get in further contact with him, right? I paid money to get inside of his Discord and I started messaging him on Discord, right? Now, is that the reason that I landed the client? Maybe, maybe not, right? But what I've found is by taking risk, you can usually like skip some of the time that it takes for you to like follow up with a lead. So with this guy, you know, I did buy into his low ticket Discord. However, whenever I got inside and I started DMing him, he ended up just blocking me anyway. So like you could say that it wasn't worth it, but that's how I knew he saw my messages, right? I was like, okay, this guy for sure is seeing me, right? And he wasn't blocking me on Instagram or email. So I just kept messaging him on Instagram and email, and eventually he closed, right? So those are like my biggest takeaways. Number one, adjust your expectations. Once again, don't expect a client or anybody to close on your very first day of doing outreach to them. You need to follow with them for like 2 or 3 months, right? Two, have a really good offer that you're following up with, right? Make it literally sound super stupid for them not even to hear you out, right? If you keep messaging them, hey bro, I'll make you $50,000 a month. You won't really have to do that much work. I'll do it all for free. I'll make no profit. And if it doesn't work, I'll make you, I'll pay you $5,000, right? That is literally like an offer that people are going to at least hear you out on if you follow up with them for a long enough time, right? And then 3, take risk when you guys are doing outreach. If there's a client out there that they have a low ticket community for $100 a month, or you can pay $200 to get on a call with them, just do it. You know what I mean? Shortcut all the following up and just get on the call with them. Literally, like I just moved into a new city and there was a client that I've been following up with for like 2 months, and he ended up living in this city, right? Or a prospect, not a client. After like messaging him like over and over and over and over again, I literally was like, hey bro, I'm in your city right now. Okay, this was after like 2 months of following up with him, not getting a single response. I was like, hey bro, I'm in your city right now. If you want to figure out if I'm legit about this, I will take you out to dinner tonight. I told him, I was like, let's go to the fanciest steakhouse in town. Okay, I'll show you everything tonight, and I'll do it all for free. And if it doesn't work, I'll pay you money. Right? So I was literally in his city. I told him I'll meet him tonight to show him everything in person, to show him I'm legit. I'll do it all for free, and if it doesn't work, I'll pay him money, right? So obviously he actually responded to me there, and he was like, okay, let's go to dinner, right? I did not end up signing that client because of like logistical reasons, and he was like gonna quit social media and stuff like that. But you can see that I literally was able to like finally get him on a call because I was willing to take a risk and pay to have, to go to a dinner with him or get on a Zoom call with somebody or join a low ticket community or, anything. So I want to go over another like live example, another conversation of a prospect that I had that I ended up closing, just so you guys can see another conversation that ends up closing. So once again, I'm going to pop it up on the screen, but you can see here, the very first time that I messaged this lead or this, prospect was June 18th. Okay. Right around the time of the NBA finals. Okay. So this guy, he actually lived in Oklahoma. So I messaged him. I said, hey, bro, if the OKC Thunder win, I'm going to need a live free masterclass to celebrate, right? He says, oh, bet, bro, I'm down. And then 2 days later, I sent him a voice note saying, hey, bro, I really love what you're doing on social media based on what we've done for other clients. I really think it would be easy for you to make like $50,000 to $100,000 per month. He sends me a voice note back saying, dude, I've been getting hit up by all these people, but I'm willing to get on a call with you just to see what you got. I said, sounds good, bro. Let's do it. Meetings after 12 work best for me. Shoot me your email and a time, and I'll send you over a Google Calendar invite, right? So that's on June 20th. The next day, he responds to me. He says, he sends me over his email, and he sends me over Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I said, okay, 1 p.m. Central, right? So we have a call scheduled for Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central, okay? Wednesday comes around 1 p.m. Central. I said, hey, I'll see you in about 20 minutes. And then I jump on the meeting, and he doesn't show up, okay? I said, hey, are you still good for a meeting? No response. Okay, so he no-shows our first sales call, my first sales call with this guy that I scheduled, okay? The next day I said, hey, good morning, brother. I understand life gets busy. I think you forgot about our meeting yesterday. Are you still good to meet sometime later this week? He says, sorry, bro, I had it in my calendar, but, I blew past it. This week has been chaotic. I can make time this afternoon if you have time. I said, cool, bro, what time works this afternoon? He sends me over his phone number, and then he says, let's connect around 3 o'clock, okay? So now I have his phone number, and we're going to meet that day at 3 o'clock. So my first message to him was June 18th, I schedule a call with him. He no-shows it. And then I schedule another call with him on June 17th, okay? And from this point on, I'm messaging him on iMessage now, okay? So once again, I'm going to pop it up on the screen. My first message to him on iMessage was, hey, it's Brandon. Are you still good for 3 p.m. Central? He says, yes, sir. Call or Zoom. I said, Zoom, I'll text you a few minutes before. He said, okay, cool. So June 27th, I send him the Zoom link. I hop on with him, and he hops on as well, right? So on this meeting, basically he was wanting to do like a different kind of business model to start. So I basically had to objection handle him and, show him like I knew what I was talking about of to why he should, do it the way that I proposed to him. Right. So on this call, I was basically just telling him like why it makes sense to do it, in a high ticket model instead of a low ticket model, why I'm the right guy to do it with him, what his goals were, how I can help him get there, et cetera, et cetera. And he doesn't end up closing on this call. Right. We end up scheduling a follow-up for, I think like a week later or something like that. So yeah. So 3 days after this, I texted him. I said, yo, good morning, brother. Is it cool if we push our meeting to a different day? Because I forgot I had a flight scheduled on the same time that I was supposed to meet with him, right? But my flight ended up getting delayed, so it was all good. So, yeah, so he says, yes, sir. Sorry, bro. If you want, we can push the meeting back to next Monday. I said, no, it's all good. My flight got moved, so we'll see. I'll see you tomorrow. So July 2nd comes around, okay? 2 weeks after I initially messaged him and after already one sales call, I get back on another sales call with him, okay? And on this sales call, I go more in depth into like what he can specifically offer, what we can do for him, what it would look like to work with me, everything like that. I have the contract drawn up. But I still don't close him on this call, okay? He's like, okay, bro, draw up another contract. I want some revisions and then send it over to me and we can meet again. And also, can you send me over some case studies and can you send me over some, people that you worked with? So that's what I did. I sent him over a case study that I had, and I think I also sent him over a closing call that I had with like a lead that I closed like way back in the day, just so he could see what a closing call looked like. And then we were set to meet on July 11th. Okay, so I initially for the first time reached out to him once again on June 18th. Okay, we get on a sales call, doesn't close. Get on another sales call, doesn't close. Okay. Third sales call 1 month later, right? It's scheduled for July 18th or July 11th. So almost exactly 1 month after my very first message to him, would be our third sales call. But he texts me, he says, hey brother, I want to hold off on this call today. I need to finish this training. I don't want to commit or waste your time until I get it closed. I appreciate you and I want to be transparent. Okay. So then I respond back. I said, no worries, man. I know it takes a good amount of time to record the course and everything like that. I'll circle back with you in a few weeks, but just happy to help. And then basically I was like, hey, do you mind if we hop on like a 5 or 10 minute phone call just to see like, you know, if I did something wrong or something like that? He was like, sure. But we didn't end up getting on a call, right? 2 weeks later, I text him. I'm like, bro, I was up all night thinking about you. I saw your video pop up on my feed again, and I know you have so much value to offer. It's going to physically hurt me to see you not make thousands of dollars a day. And I was like, oh, dude. And, you know, one of his biggest objections was that his course wasn't created yet. So I was like, I took the responsibility for that. I said, bro, it was my bad. I should have given you something, you know, more easy to be able to create the course more efficiently. But bro, I put something together where you can make the program super efficiently. I want you to start making money while helping people. Let's jump on a call and make you rich, right? So basically his biggest objection on the call before that was just that his course wasn't created yet and he needed to completely finish it out and he wanted to be efficient about it. But I didn't have anything drawn up to how I could help him. So I put together something like showing him how I could help him make the course more efficiently. He responds, he goes, shoot, bro, I appreciate you looking out, and I know I'm leaving money on the table. With that being said, I'm not trying to be the first to launch. I want to be the best whenever I launch. So he was basically saying, you know, he wants to complete the course before anything, right? So then I text him, I said, 100%, bro, let me know in the future when you get going, and I'll be able to help you out. Let's keep in touch, okay? So then we don't talk for like a month almost, okay? Because I knew it was going to take him a long time to make the course. A month later, I texted him again. I said, bro, I kept seeing your new videos. You're giving so much value. I don't know if you made any progress on the course, but I want to show you what's still possible with this. I'm so certain we could build you out something massive here. I'd be willing to do it for free. No setup fee. I'll build it all for free. I won't even take a profit at all. And you can keep all the IP afterwards for free. I just want to show you what's possible, and I want to build something huge here. He said, bro, that wouldn't be fair at all. I've closed 8K this month just of inbound leads, so he tried to do it on his own. And then he said, but it's slow. I've still got 12 hours to record and upload, so it's about 30% done. So he still wasn't done with the course, okay? And then I basically told him, I was like, yeah, bro, with a system, you could easily be doing $50,000 to $100,000 a month off the bat, right? Because he was doing 8K just off of his DMs, right? And then I told him, I was like, dude, what you already have inside the course is already super valuable compared to other people. People really just pay to be able to talk to you, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But dude, I told him, I was like, dude, I'm happy to do it all for you for free, just so you know that you can trust me. I'm not in it for the fast money. I know we can build something massive here. Multi-6 figures a month is what we're going for. He said, okay, let's get on another call, but there's got to be an upside for you, and I understand that I don't have an issue with it. I should have around 30 hours recorded whenever I'm done. And then he's basically saying like, you know, he didn't want to launch until it was polished, and he's basically saying like everyone, like a ton of people are reaching out to him. I get pitched by 1 or 2 agencies a day. No one's impressed me except you, so I left a good impression on him. And then I said, fair enough, bro, we'll do everything right and perfect from the start. Shoot me over a time that works, and I'll send you over a calendar invite, okay? And he doesn't fucking respond, okay? So then I text him again a couple days later. I said, morning, bro, when's a good time for us to meet again so we can get, you know, scheduled? He doesn't respond again for 4 days. I text him again. I said, hey, when do you want to meet? Hey, did you want to meet again once you're a little bit more through with the filming and everything? Can follow up in a week or so. Doesn't respond for 3 days. Finally responds and says, hey, bro, sorry, it's been a shit show over here. Can we connect Friday? I said, sure. I'll send over a calendar invite. You mean tomorrow, right? He doesn't respond. I said, let me know if you meant tomorrow or next week. He doesn't respond again. I said, good morning, bro. Wasn't sure if you wanted to meet today or next Friday. Let me know. He finally responds. He says 2 p.m. on Friday. I said, sounds good. I sent him over a Zoom invite. And then we jump on the call on September 5th. Okay, I said, see you in about an hour. Okay. He ends up FaceTiming me. And then we jump on the call, and he's basically telling me that how he basically was trying to do it on his own, but he couldn't figure it out. It wasn't going perfectly for him, and he couldn't, you know, they weren't making enough money. So he's like, draw up another contract and then send it to me. So this is like the 3rd fucking sales call that I get on with this guy, and it doesn't close. Okay, think about that. And I've been following up with him already for 2 months. So a couple of days go past again. I said, hey, see y'all in an hour. I want to solidify terms and then get chugging. Cool. So then I send him over the new contract or whatever. And then finally on the 4th sales call, I fucking close him. Okay. So what I want to show you guys is that, like, once again, people are not going to close after the very first time you message them. Okay. I literally followed up with this guy for like 3 fucking months before I closed him. I jumped on 4 sales calls with him before I closed him. Okay. I sent him like reminders about meetings. You know what I mean? Like you have to be very like anal with these people. Okay. So yeah, in that specific instance, a couple things that I would note is just like how unbelievably long it took me for me to land him. You know what I mean? It took literally 3 months of me following up over and over and over again, right? 4 sales calls, and he told me no multiple times. Okay, so he told me no on some of those sales calls, on some of those sales calls as well. I just don't necessarily remember which ones. But yeah, he walked away from me like 3 times. He said, "Hey, bro, I don't even want to get on to the next meeting." He wasn't responding to me. He wasn't taking me serious, and I kept following up, and I kept following up, and I kept following up until eventually I got the deal closed. Right. Another thing too is that notice how eventually I literally dropped it to where I knew he wasn't getting the results he wanted, and I told him, "Bro, I will do everything for free. I will take zero profit just to show you that it works." Okay. That finally got his attention, and I think that's kind of when he understood that I wasn't just trying to like, you know, grift him or something like that. And he ended up actually wanting to pay me anyway, right? He didn't want me to do it for free, but just me getting my foot in the door saying that I would do it for free helps a lot. So my offer was really good. I followed up forever, and yeah. So I hope you guys seeing those two examples of like conversations that did end up in me signing them and working with them can show you guys like, or can help you guys land clients of your own. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions.